All right, we're live. Okay, we're revisiting slipping of barrels. I noticed Jason was doing a different technique than I realized he was doing before. It was much better than mine. We'll get back to that in 1 second. Why we're doing this is, this was the first barrel we burned, and at the bottom you can still see the blue paint. That was on the ground. That was the bottom of the barrel that we burned. So the fire was inside, and we had it blocked up, letting air get underneath, which we realized was a mistake. So it was basically cooling the fire, and that's why I didn't burn the blue at the bottom. But it's fine on this barrel because that's all going to be cobbed in and no problems. This barrel, we fixed the first problem where we set it on the ground and we built up a little sand around the bottom just so there wouldn't be air cooling the lower part of the fire. But when we burned this barrel, it was very windy outside, and we used 3 other barrels to try and block it. We had a barrel here, here, and here, and it's still, the wind was just heat basically blowing the barrel, and the barrels, it was cooling the barrel, so the top of this barrel didn't burn well. Basically, we got a great burn on the bottom, and probably, yeah, from the rim to around here is where
you
there's
can still see blackened paint on the top third to actual still blue.
Yeah, we've basically got like almost solid blue and spots on the very top.
Yeah.
And then and it just gradients to darker, and then somewhere in here to here, depending on the spot of the barrel, all the way around is where it goes from charred black paint that didn't fully burn off into fully burned barrel, roughly the bottom 2/3. So we're re-slipping the top. We've got an idea of just starting literally like a barrel fire, a campfire in the bottom of the barrel, get a good fire going, and then we're going to push it halfway into the barrel and then stack a whole bunch of fuel in half of the barrel angled up here. So we have an open half at the bottom, and then we'll throw the pocket rocket lid on, which will give us a whole bunch of heat at the top of the barrel. Hopefully the pocket rocket lid will contain the heat and give enough airflow to feed that fuel. We're hoping that'll give us a really good burn at the top of the barrel. It is very windy today, so we're going to have to wait until we get the right conditions. I mean, if it's that windy, I don't think any amount of fire in there, unless we fill it full of coals, is going to burn the top part of that barrel.
It's also colder today.
Yep.
Even more so.
Now, if we were lucky enough that we could do it, if we were lucky enough we could cut the bottom of this barrel out, which we can't because this is our top barrel, so the bottom of this barrel ends up being the top of the system. If we could cut the top out, we could actually flip the barrel, put sand around this edge, and then it would just burn it fine because all the heat and the coals are at the bottom and the wind doesn't affect it, and it'd be gone, but we have no way to vent it then. So this is what we're going to try. So back to what I saw Jason doing. He's got paper from here all the way around to here. So he apparently started here and he worked his way around. He's getting ready to do the last bit. So walk us through the step, or well, you're getting ready to do the last piece of the first layer.
Yeah. No, the first layer's done.
Oh, okay.
First layer's done. I'm about to start the second layer. It's got one even layer all over. So basically what I've been doing is when I started with this, just a bare, clean barrel, I would slip the surface of the barrel just with clay. I was, when I first started, dipping the paper into clay, but it made it really heavy and want to tear. So I found it was better to just put some clay slip on the barrel and then grab a sheet of paper and just wet it down instead.
Okay.
It was less likely to tear, and I could do pretty much full sheets this way. I think this might be a little smaller than whatever newspaper
You basically do
you're using.
a full sheet of newspaper is called a broadsheet. I only know this because I used to work in newspaper factories. Yep. So you're basically, a comfortable size is half a broadsheet. You rip your broadsheet in half.
Yeah, get it good and wet in the bucket, and it doesn't put so much weight on it that it wants to tear, and then I can apply it.
And when you put that first layer of slip on the barrel, you're basically just at least covering the area where that paper is going to go. You're not covering too much because then it'll dry out.
Yeah, I just cover I just cover the area that I'm going to be applying that just one at a time, just to make sure that I've got enough, and then get it kind of stuck on. It's not going to be perfect, but generally you can smooth out if you take your time placing it. You can smooth stuff out. When you get some clay on the top surface, you can just slide your hand against it, and as long as you're gentle, it generally won't tear anything. And then you're just working air bubbles out.
Do you want the helper poker to poke that bubble out? Was that under the? I thought maybe that was under the first layer, but maybe not.
Yeah. So.
I'm sorry for those on watching the film. Helper poker is a very technical term, but I just realized you people would have no idea what I'm talking about. That's a little tool I keep in my handbag. It's like a long dental pick, and I've had various friends as helpers, and it has invariably, whenever they go get the handbag, it has poked my helpers. So it has become lovingly termed the helper poker.
Yep. It has drawn blood on me.
Yep. You and I think 2 other friends.
So yeah.
All right.
So you
just work the air out, which again is very important to have the air out. So the clayed paper is against the paint and allows the paint to get hot enough to basically get hot enough to chemically detach its adhesion from the barrel.
Yeah.
And so this isn't so much as holding the fumes in and being eco-friendly, I guess, in one way.
It's dual purpose.
Right. So it's holding smoke and fumes in, but basically I think what I'm realizing is I didn't realize part of this process is that I assumed, you could just start a fire in a barrel and you'll burn your paint off. And of course it'll be fumey and nasty and black smoke. Yeah. But I don't think, after seeing what this did with the paper and the clay and burning it, I don't think you'd actually get all that paint off. This kind of holds the heat in to the surface on the paint. Yeah,
that's just a guess for me at this point. I haven't done a normal, I haven't tried just burning it.
I know one gentleman, he did a funny thing. He kind of said it as a joke to somebody as far as like how to burn a barrel, and then he did it himself just to demonstrate it. And he burned the paint off a barrel in 10 or 15 minutes. But he did it by wrapping the barrel in rock wool. So it's a super insulated wool.
Yeah.
And the barrel got like red or white hot.
Oh, yeah.
And in 10 or 15 minutes, there was nothing left. Pull the rock wool off, and it was a clean barrel. But it ruins the rock wool for other purposes.
Yeah, I could absolutely believe, you toss some thick insulation on there, it would probably...
So I don't even know if he clay slipped it first, because I mean the clay slipping takes some time. If you have DuraBlanket that you're going to use in your system, it would take 2 wraps, one on the bottom half, one on the top half. You could wrap this thing in DuraBlanket, but I don't know about, it starts changing how flexible the DuraBlanket is. And of course, it would probably put the paint on the DuraBlanket. But these are all things for future experiments. So I just wanted to there's not a lot of great information out there about the easy way to slip a barrel. Basically, it is kind of jump in, get your hands wet, literally, and just figure it out. But here's some pointers on what we have found is a faster, easier way and better results of getting to know air bubbles. I mean, you can see around this barrel, it's really, really nice. When I was doing it the other day with just dipping the paper in clay, it's kind of a mess. It's so heavy, it just continues to rip your paper.
Yeah, I can do big pieces just by wetting it down in clay. And I also need to correct myself. On a previous video, I mentioned that you could get clay that would fire on in the burning process that would get, it would harden the clay and then it wouldn't come off the barrel. And I remembered that wasn't the case, it was sand. If you get sand on the surface of the barrel, it can melt and stick to the surface in the burning process, and you won't be able to get that off with anything other than grinding.
Mm-hmm. You're basically literally glazing the barrel like a ceramic glaze. You've turned the glass liquid, and then it's re-adhered to the metal.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing horrible. It's just going to be, it's just going to be a little like gritty patch on the surface of the barrel.
Yeah, and all the clay we had on the other day when we were filming this, all that stuff came off pretty easy with, what was the wet?
Scotch-Brite pad and
just
water.
The wet Scotch-Brite pad got it all off easy?
Yeah, just any scrubbing with pretty much anything in some water, it'll dissolve and scrub.
At that point, do you think if somebody had like a really stiff nylon cleaning brush under their sink or the deck type brush,
Possibly.
if you have the wetness, that might even do it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think any
coarse
any
scouring
abrasive,
product.
Any abrasive method will work. It's just some will work quicker than others. So,
But if you don't want to go out and buy stuff, basically coarse, bristly type thing with water got it all done.
yeah, I mean, dish scrubber of some type would, I mean, whatever you want, like even the plastic ones, the metal ones, any of those. I think any of those would get it done. I think a bristle brush is going to be less effective than like a scrub pad.
Yeah.
Unless it's a very hard, like a metal bristle brush, and those are going to scratch up the barrel. So I would go in my mind with a hand dish scrubber off the top of my head.
Okay.
I think that would do well.
Other things that could work on this, just thoughts, are you get those stainless, spongy, weird dish cleaners that restaurants use.
Yeah.
And if you clean it with that, you might put a nice circular. You could circular pattern the whole barrel, if that's something somebody wanted to do. Anyway, options. So over here, I'm setting up the pad for under the core. So I've got all my pavers are screwed down into the floor. I've got this whole side of pavers is screwed down to the floor. So if somebody came along and kicked them, or something fell off of something and you could spin the brick, because there won't be near as much cob above these as there is over the rest. Let the bricks spin and it'll be hard to get back. So just to keep a nice clean line, and then the surrounding bricks in front of the batch box are anchored down as well. And then each piece of Wonderboard is anchored. The first two, just 2 screws each, because the weight will keep them still. This one's going to be cut into, so there's more screws on it. We're going to cut into this 1/2 inch Wonderboard to put in a 1/4 inch piece of Wonderboard under the Duraboard area and the core. That being because there's going to be 2 layers of 1/4 inch here, but the bottom layer of 1/4 inch will come all the way out onto these blocks, these pavers. And that's so, and then the second layer of 1/4 inch will only come to the back of the metal box that's going to be made, because the bottom of the box is a 1/4 inch thick. So that extra, or that recess of the 1/4 inch where it doesn't come out all the way, will make the level the same. And then we have a smooth surface for the Duraboard to sit on. So that's the process I'm in right now. And you can see I'm using cutoff wheels to level the barrel. So our concrete floor is slightly unlevel. And when I put in the new 1/4 inch Wonderboard pieces, that first piece of 1/4 inch Wonderboard that goes in, I'll put a little bit of sand on the blocks where I need it to level it out. So I've got roughly, it's 7/32 high. I'm raising it there, which is just a little bit over 3/16. About a 1/16 up in the front. So that's what I need to do when I put my Wonderboard in there. Otherwise my barrel will be off kilter, and the riser will be off plumb. They'll be angled slightly, or leaning. So that's the next steps I have to take care of, is put in the 1/4 inch pieces of Wonderboard and get the platform level, so things on the Wonderboard will be level.